Hello and thank you for joining me for another Pilates session. I've got quite a strong one for you today. Equipment wise, a long band, really handy. That's all you really need. I've got a loop as well, a looped band, but you can always take your long one and tie it into a circle. And then I will be bringing the ball in as well, but absolutely non-essential. You're still going to get a great burn without the ball. I find it's just useful to give our minds something to focus on, a little prop to hold. So if you haven't got one, don't worry. Without further ado, let's get onto our feet and we'll get warmed up. So we're just going to start with some squats just to get the legs warmed up. So starting with your feet in parallel, or if you prefer wider, go wider. We'll have hands on hips. Starting with a gentle softness to the knee. Check out your weight distribution. You want weight in the front of the feet and the back of the feet. And then start to sink your sit bones a little bit lower. And then press down through the mat, lift through the crown, and we're tall again. So again, soft knees. Sink the sit bones lower and then squeeze the sit bones towards one another to stand. So sit bones sit back, squeeze them together and your glutes will launch you forwards and up. So lengthen sit bones back, push down through the feet, lift through the crown. Lovely. So we're taking these squats now, checking for the alignment of our knees, that they're pointing in line with our second toe. That's it. And again, thinking about the weight distribution through the feet. So do use the balls of the feet. Do use the toes a little bit for balance, okay? You don't have to push all through the heel. We quite like that even weight distribution. As the butt sinks back, the head and shoulders sink forwards, and that's what gives us that nice weight distribution throughout the body. Good. So let's start adding some arms forwards, and then arms back behind you. Arms forwards, arms back behind you, arms forwards, and back behind you, arms forwards and back. Lovely, a few more here. And then we're going to take this up to a tiptoe position. So we'll start to bring in some ankle stability. So next one, let's go all the way up to the tiptoes. That's it, find balance, and then heels down into your squat. Nice. So just taking those movements. Again, checking for knee alignment. Knees are pointing forwards over toe number 2. Sinking the sit bones, squeezing them together to get that nice launch and squeeze through the glutes. Lifting the crown up towards the ceiling. We're here for another 5. 4. Nice. 3. 2. And join me for one more. And 1. And rest. Okay, so grab your ball or a cushion or something to hold on to help you with focusing your arm position. We're going to stand in the front half of the mat and take a long stride back. Okay, so this gives us a long stride. We're going to turn our hips towards the front of the mat, because if the hips are forward facing, and importantly your 10 toes are forward facing, your knees have a better chance of behaving themselves and also remaining forward facing. So we're then going to lift that back heel. Again, just square the hips because they might have wiggled out of position. And we're going to take a lunge. So for lunges, rather than lunging forwards, which I think is quite common, we're going to try and bend both our knees and just take our weight directly down towards the mat and then crown directly up towards the ceiling. So weight directly down, both knees need to bend and tall. Now what you might find is as you lunge down, your knees might roll in or roll out a little bit, okay? We want to try and really focus on squeezing around the hips and the butt, keeping the hip bones pointing forwards, kneecaps pointing forwards, toes pointing forwards. Because if we can keep this nice and linear, we've got a much better chance of avoiding knee pain. So we're going to go for another 3 here. So another 3, 2, and again down and up 1. We're going to come to stand on that front leg, so just gently shift your weight forwards, bring your knee up and through and hold and breathe here. Push down through your foot, find that strength in the leg, squeezing into the glute muscle here, lifting through the crown. And then we're going to step the toes back, so be quite strategic about where you place your toes. Toes forward facing, hips and knees forward facing, and we lunge down and up and come back up to our balance, holding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Taking those toes back carefully, forward pointing toes, forward pointing hips, lunge. Good, and up to balance on that front leg, holding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take it back to lunge. Find your toes, hips, knees, lunge. Good, up to balance, holding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and again, taking those toes back, aligning toes and hips, lunge, and to balance, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going straight back into lunge, so position toes, hips, take your lunge, and then straight up to balance, lift that ball or that cushion above your head, and back into lunge, inhale. Exhale, launch up nice and high, find that balance, find that strength in your leg, inhale, lunge, exhale, tall, inhale, lunge, exhale, tall, inhale, lunge, really working this front leg now, exhale, tall, really good, keep strong, pressing down through the mat, strengthen the leg, strengthen the glute, let's go a couple more, exhale as you launch tall, and one more time. And launch tall, lovely, and just take a stand back down. If you need to give your legs a bit of a shake or take a walk around your room, please feel free. I'm going to get onto the other side, so I'm just changing legs now. So I've got my heel lifted, squaring the hips, really important, toes lined up, really important. That back toe tends to turn out, so just watch for that. Here, knees in position. Okay, ready to go. You're going to bend both your knees, remember, and think about your body weight going directly down to your mat, crown lifting up. So rather than overloading that front leg, we are bending both our knees. We are squeezing and gripping our hips forward facing throughout. If you're not sure what your knees are doing, this is a really good one to do in front of a mirror because you can watch. I know that my back knee is really prone to a roll in. Okay, so that's something I really have to squeeze into my hip and my glute to keep my hips and knees in the right direction. You might have a similar sort of dysfunction in your hip or your knee, and it's fixable. It's fixable. Good, let's go for one more. And then we're going to come up to our balance. So coming up to stand on that front leg, push down through the foot, squeeze through the leg, squeeze through the glute, holding here in your balance. Think about elevating your body away from the mat, lifting through the crown, finding that strength, holding for a moment longer there, and then think strategically about where you place your toes. Toes back behind you, square toes and hips forward facing, we lunge down and up to balance. And we hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and step toes back, square toes, square hips, lunge down and up to balance. Finding that strength for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and taking it back. Square those hips, lunge down and up to balance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and toes. Square toes, square hips, lunge down and up to balance again. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and this time we're going back into lunge. That's going to be your inhale, down, and exhale, you're going to launch all the way up. So lift that ball or that cushion above your head, find your strength. Inhale, exhale, launch tall. Inhale, reverse lunge. Exhale, tall. So you're really pushing nice and strong through that front foot. You press down through the mat, find the strength in the leg, the strength in the glutes to lift you. Good. Nearly there now. Let's go for another 3. Lovely. Square those hips. 2. And final lunge here. 1. And take a moment. Again, if you need to do a little lap of the room or just take a moment to get your breath back, please feel free. I said that was our last lunge, but we have got one little tasty lunge sequence left. So the ball is quite handy in this one, but not essential. We're going to take a lunge position, but we're going to take the ball under the knee. If you haven't got yours, you're just going to hover nice and low instead. So you're going to take your foot back into your lunge position. Lift that heel, do all the things as normal as squaring hips, squaring toes, and then you're going to place the ball down to come to rest on it. If you haven't got your ball, you're just hovering here, okay? If you're on your ball, let your ball take some of the weight. It might be wobbly, okay, but it will support you. Square those hips, and we're just going to take a bit of weight off the ball, take the weight down on it. Weight off, weight on, weight off, weight on. That's it. Keep going, weight off, weight on. So it's weight up, weight down, weight up, weight down, weight up, weight down, and then weight up and weight down to rest. Now your front heel, we're going to see if we can lift and lower, lift, lower, square the hips, lift, lower, lift, lower, you're nearly there, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift and lower, and last one, and lower, and big strong press up, you're off your ball, and again, just walk it out. Have a little walk around, have a little shake. If you need to just shake or kick or stomp, maybe you want to jump and stomp and get some tension out. We're going to move on to the other side, of course. So taking your lunge setup, hips forward facing, back heel raised. Going to come to drop the ball down, to come to kneel on the ball. And just take a moment to get familiar with it. This leg and this hip might be quite shaky. So square hips, squeeze around hips and pelvis. And we're going to take weight off. Weight on, weight off, weight on, weight off, weight on, weight off, weight on, nearly there. Up and down, up and down, up and down, and up, and rest the weight on the ball. Front heel, are you ready? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, starting to bend, 2, and down, and 1, and down, and big push, big lift, well done, come and stand off that ball, good. Nice little pedal out through the legs, maybe just some heel pedals there to loosen off. Again, if you need to take a walk around or have a little stretch, that's absolutely fine. Once your thighs have stopped burning from that tasty lunge section, if you'd like to join me on the mat, this is where we'll need our bands. I know most of you have long bands which you can tie into a loop, but if you've got a loop, please grab that. We're going to take a side kneeling position next. So it's on the hands and knees, but you're going to take one leg out to the side, so a long leg out in line with the hips. Just check that you haven't brought your bum forwards or sunk back with the bottom. You want the hip directly above the knee here, and then the leg out to the side of you. You're then going to take your loop, and it's going to loop around that foot there. So if you keep the foot flexed, you'll have quite a good connection there. Okay, so that's the setup. I'm going to turn around to face you so that you can see a little bit better what's going on. So once you're in your hands and knees position, you've got your loop around your foot, you're going to come to kneel upwards. Okay, now you could create a kickstand with the back toes to keep you a bit more balanced, or if you need more padding under your knee, please roll your mat over a few times. So you've got a really good grip on here. We're going to come up nice and tall, tuck the tail, and then bend in towards the band, and then side bend away. So that's going to be your inhale in, exhale away. Good. So this is working, obviously, our side bending. So this is our obliques, working the sides of the torso. So things to watch here is that we keep this a true side bend, so we're not kind of rotating in and twisting. So think about keeping your collarbones nice and wide, nice and broad, keeping that tailbone tucked down, and drawing shoulder blades down the back here. Good. So let's keep going, go for about another 5 here. 4, 3, 2, and last one, digging into this crunch in the waist, lovely. And then let's just set up on the other side. We're aiming for about 15 of these. So again, you can start that through hands and knees, stick a leg out, get your balance, get your hand position, make sure your foot is flexed and comfortable, and then kneel up, tuck your tail under, open across these collarbones, let those collarbones smile. We're going to inhale as we bend towards the foot. Exhale, side bend away. That's it. And this arm just stays nice and straight. Your waist is doing the work. If you start bending through the elbow, you're just going to bring like your biceps into it, which is fine, but we'd quite like to get this work into our sides today. So just keeping that arm nice and long. and taking this side to side movement. That's it. Nice and tall through the spine as you come through the center line. That's it. And we've got another 5 to go. So we'll call that 5, 4, lovely, 3, really crunching into those sides, 2, and last one. Wonderful. So take that loop off. Okay, we're going to come to do side kneeling on the other leg again. So you can stay upright for this one with your leg out to the side, and just tuck that loop out the way. We're going to place our fingertips down for support. Now I say fingertips because I don't want you to take too much weight through the hand. So if we just come up onto sort of tented fingers, that will reduce the temptation to use that as support. Check that this hip is still sort of just above the knee there, or as good as, and then tuck the tail because it's very easy to let the bum stick out here. So tuck the tail to find that nice long spine. Shoulder blades are going to draw down the back, and we're going to be proud out of that bottom shoulder. Top hand's going to come over for a little reach, and a release, and a reach long, and a release. Let's see if we can start to add in a bit more of a side bend, and a release, and a bend, and a release. So I'm just dipping into my bottom elbow a little to allow me space to get lower through the shoulders. Good, keeping that tailbone tucked. Just gonna go for one more. And then try and find that long neutral spine. Just gentle touch through the fingertips. Tuck the tail, really squeeze on through the core. This next bit's tough. I'm gonna see if I can remove this bottom hand. So I might come to 2 fingertips, 1 fingertip, and then see if I can just come up to here. Oh, it's tough. And then gently bring the hand back down. Inhale, prepare. Exhale, maybe 3, 2, 1 fingertips, and then lifting, just framing my face there, and take a moment. And again, reducing that contact with the mats until you feel confident to take your hand off. We're just here for 2 more. You should feel the top side of that waist really, really burning. Lovely, last time. And hand down, and bring it back in. Good. Just come to sit comfortably for a moment. We're just going to roll those shoulders out. That's it. Wonderful. And let's get on to the other side. Have a go at those. So when you're ready, sticking one leg out, we're going to take the fingertips down. Remember, not using the full weight through the hand. Tuck the tail. Find that long spine. Draw the shoulder blades down, stay proud out of that bottom shoulder. We're going to start with an arm float over, and a return. And an arm float over, and a return. And a float. And a return. Let's start to add in more of a bend. So try and lift your rib cage as you bend your bottom elbow, and back to long spine. So try and get that side bend. So you're thinking about this top side of your ribs, lifting up to the ceiling as your shoulder girdle drops down slightly. Last couple, keeping those collarbones nice and open. And let's come to have a go at this more advanced arm lift. So we're taking our upper arm above the head to frame the face, taking some weight out of the fingertips, maybe 2 fingertips, maybe 1 fingertips, maybe you're able to lift. And then gently return. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, long spine. Inhale. Exhale. Good, these are tough. Keep tucking tail, keep drawing in through the core. Last 2. Inhale. Gosh, the shake is amazing. Last one. Bringing the hand down, bringing the hand and the leg back in. Really, really good. Give that a nice roll out through the shoulders again. So that's all the side work I'm going to give you. We're going to get onto our backs next to do some more core work. So if you want to grab your loop or your band tied in a loop, and I'll meet you on the mat. take your loop and pop the arms inside it, so the loop goes around the forearms or the wrists. Then we're going to take the band up and overhead to that overhead reach position. So you don't need loads of tension on the band, but I just want some gentle awareness of pushing wide into the band. We're then going to bring the band forwards, and as we do so, we're going to hinge into our Pilates sit-up, which, as you know, is just that gentle lifting off the mat, and then that gentle lowering back down into overhead reach. So we'll reach forwards, hinge from the bottom rib, as if you're taking your rib cage to kiss your hip bones. So bottom ribs come to kiss the pelvis and gently hinge back. So this is less of a rounding of the spine. We want to try and keep the back of the neck tall and the upper spine quite tall, and we use the bottom rib as our hinge point. So this just reduces the curvature and the rounding and helps us to activate that deep core, that area between the ribs and the hips. Good, so I would use that inhale as you lower back, exhale as you sit forwards. And that base of the ribs is just your pivot point for this whole movement. As you take that overhead reach, let's check that we're not lifting and popping up through the chest and the ribs. Let's try and keep the chest and the ribs soft. So trying to keep the back of the ribs in contact with the mat. And keep the front of the ribs softening towards the pelvis there. And then hinge forwards. Good. We're just here for 2 more. If your arms are starting to get tired, of course you could ditch the band, or you could hold the ball instead. Last one. And taking a moment. So we're going to adapt and improve upon that by adding in a leg extension next. We'll be working through, I think we'll do 10 to 12 of these, but see how you go. If your arms are getting a bit fatigued, as I say, ditch the band or stop sooner. So we're going to take that overhead reach on the inhale. As you exhale and hinge from the bottom of your rib cage, you're going to stretch your toe. Inhale, lay back, we'll go on the other leg. Exhale, hinge and points. Inhale, lay back. Exhale. Keeping that awareness of tension through the band, working into the arms and the shoulders. Good. Keeping that peach gripped underneath your chin. That just helps to keep the back of the neck long in the right position, and also engages those deep neck flexors at the front of the neck to make sure that they're on and supporting us. Good, keep it up. We're here for 3 more. 3, 2, and finally 1. And then take a moment. Whew, well done. So we're going to move away from your arms a little bit next. We're going to take the loop and take your legs inside of it so that the loop just comes to above the knees, sort of lower thigh area. We're then going to find our tabletop position. So if you can start to bring your knees somewhere above your hip bones, shins parallel to the ground. We're going to interlock the hands to create a bit of a cradle and cradle the back of the head, keeping the elbows in the peripheral vision, keeping the collarbones wide. So we're going to take another sit-up, so hinging, rib cage towards pelvis is a bit tougher here because there's less space, and then gently lay back down. Then we're going to do knees open and knees closed, so look for symmetry and smoothness through the band. And then back into our sit-up. So we're going to do our little Pilates sit-up, up and down, knees open and closed, hinge up and down, knees open, knees closed, hinge up and down, open, close, hinge up and down, open, close. Keep the neck long, peach under chin, and we've got an open and close, hinge up and down, open and close. Keep it up, hinge and down, open, close, up, down, open, close. Bit quicker, up, down, open, close, up, down, open, close, up, down, open, close, up, down, open, close, up, down, open, 3 more, up, down, open, close, up, down, open, close, and up and down, and open, close, and relax. Nice, you can kick off that band. You can pop that down to one side, and then join me for a full body reach. So stretch your toes to the bottom end of your mat, stretch your hands up to the top, and have a really, really good stretch right down the midline of your tummy there. Nice. Nice deep breaths. Try and breathe quite deep into the body. And then we're going to do our banana shape. So take your feet to the right corner of the mat, hands to the top right corner, create that banana shape as you lengthen the body and feel this stretch particularly down the left side. Try and send your breath into your left waist and left rib. So deep into the body again. Use that inhale to expand into left waist and left rib. And if you can get that breath, it feels amazing. It's like you're stretching your deep core, you're sort of stretching yourself from the inside out. And then let's do the other side. So release some tension, walk feet to the bottom left corner, hands to the top left corner, stretch long, and then feel that stretch down the right side before you start taking your breath into the right side and right ribs. Nice, couple more breaths there. And relax tension. Roll yourself over onto your stomach, and you can create a nice pillow with your hands in which to rest your forehead. We're going to draw one heel in towards the bottom. Now, if you can't reach your foot, you might be able to reach your sock, or you might have that loop still, and you can loop around your foot and pull it towards you. That can be really helpful. If you can grab your foot, draw it in towards the back side. Obviously be sensible with angles of knees. If this is kind of too sharp an angle on your knee, maybe sit this one out. Check with positioning of knees as well. It might be that your knee has come quite wide to the edge of your mat. Maybe you need to bring it more in line. And again, that can just be a compensatory thing. So let's push our pubic bone into the floor. And that will open up the front of your hips and your thigh a little bit more. Now what we can also try is use the opposite hand to grab the foot. So if you just swap hands, you get a slightly different pull and a different angle. You might find that's really good. You might prefer same hand as same leg, okay? But it's a nice option. It might hit home for some of you. And then we'll gently release that foot, and we're going to change sides. So again, have a play. I'm going to do same hand, same foot, because I think that's quite handy for me today. But you're welcome to try using the opposite hand to the foot if you can reach it. Again, if your knees kind of spread wide, try and bring them a bit more narrow towards the middle of the mat. And to increase the stretch, we can push our pubic bone forwards into the mat and breathe there. If you're a very bendy body, you might be able to reach both feet at the same time, in which case you can reach around and grab. If you are here, that might be enough to make this more interesting. You could push your feet quite hard into the palms of your hands and just keep pushing, pushing, pushing. You'll find your knees will come off the mat, your thighs will come off the mat, and your chest and shoulders will open. It's a good stretch for chest and shoulders if you're up to it. Again, watch for wide knees, try and keep them quite narrow. Push, 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 push with the feet, and breathe if you've got any space to breathe here. Relaxing knees, relaxing hands to the sides of the body and gently pushing yourself up into a back bend or a cobra of your choice. You could also stay down on elbows and forearms here if that's enough for you today. Focus on opening the chest, opening collarbones, drawing shoulder blades down and finding tallness at the back of your neck. Take a deep breath, lengthen that spine. And again. And gently pushing back to a seated posture. So thank you for joining me for today's class. I hope you've really enjoyed it. It's been a really strong one. It really helped me out if you could click subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next session.